Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Living the Mission at St. Mary's College webinar. We're super excited to be able to bring this to you, to all of you today, guys, and bear with us. This is our first sort of big webinar event. So you guys are very, very, very special. Anyway, we hope that you're all healthy and staying safe wherever you are. We're so sorry that you're all going through this right now, but we hope being able to provide some things like this to you over these next several weeks will help you feel connected, will help you feel like things are still fairly normal and moving forward, because we know we all have a very bright future ahead of us. So I want to welcome all of our admitted students onto the chat, and also all of our younger students who are just sort of now starting to get a sense of, you know, what they're looking for in a college and trying to get some of their questions answered. My name is Sarah Gallagher Dvorak, and I'm the Director of Admission at St. Mary's. And I'm joined by a lovely group of panelists today who are going to be here to share with you a little bit of information about sort of each of their sort of student-centered offices within our mission division at St. Mary's, and sort of some of the opportunities that will be available for you as students. And then we have two of our current students, Sarah Hotzinger and Angela Martinez Camacho, who are going to join us as well, and they're going to share a little bit of information about sort of what their experiences have been at St. Mary's. We have Colleen Burke on the chat. You'll hear from all of them. And Colleen is one of our, is a senior admission counselor at St. Mary's, but she's also an alumna of the college, and she was involved as an alumna in a lot of ways within our office of our division of mission. So we're going to go ahead and begin. A couple of things, if you guys are not muted, if we could have everybody that's not talking at the time, go ahead and mute yourself, and you can do that by just going to the bottom left-hand side of the screen. And then on the bottom of your screen as well, there is a chat button. So if you want to go ahead and pull that up, and if you want to be typing questions on the side, feel free to do that throughout the webinar. We will also, after everybody kind of goes through and just says a few words about their areas, we will have some time at the end for question and answers, of course, too. Feel free, but otherwise you can go ahead and just type some questions in there as they come through, and we'll be looking at those. Okay? All right, we can go ahead and begin. I think we're going to have Liz Palmer go ahead and start.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. It's great to be with you virtually. My name is Liz Palmer, and I currently serve St. Mary's as the Assistant Director of Campus Ministry, and I'm also a very proud alumna. I'm here today to share a brief part of our history and also how the mission has really directly impacted me as a person. So, brace yourselves. St. Mary's was founded in 1844 by the Sisters of the Holy Cross, and we are a mission-driven institution. This means that we are rooted in Holy Cross spirituality, and that comes alive in many different ways. Some find it through justice, learning, community, faith, or spirituality, and those happen to be our core values of the college. I can confidently say that all people who pass through this place find some sort of personal connection to our mission. No matter your faith background or even lack thereof, our mission is very relatable and it's very inviting. And I personally find that both beautiful and reassuring. The sister story is one of tenacity, strength, and courage, which we need more than ever, especially during this time of pandemic. To provide a brief glimpse of their history and our shared history. In 1843, the founder of the Congregation of Holy Cross, his name was Father Basil Moreau, sent 4 sisters from Le Mans, France to Bertrand, Michigan. This place, Bertrand, is right across our Michigan-Indiana border, so imagine about 15 to 20 minutes from our current campus. The 4 sisters, many of whom were in their late teens, so just like you and the age you are now, they said goodbye to their families in France. They traveled across the ocean with little ways to communicate to their home and to their families there. And they selflessly responded to the needs of the settlers here in Bertrand, Michigan, and Indiana. At that time, it was very populated by Native Americans, and they established schools and orphanages. Their original school in Bertrand eventually came here to South Bend, Indiana, and it became St. Mary's College. Education and nursing have really been the most notable ministries of the sisters, and these two academic programs remain among our strongest and proudest as an academic institution. Today, the sisters are still on campus. You see them often walking around, and it's like witnessing a living history. They're also they have a global presence. They are in 8 different countries and in 4 continents. And right here at St. Mary's, it is their mother house. So their global community comes back to campus, and this really promotes vivacious diversity and just this inclusivity that our students get to see from these global communities. They really show us the power of encounter, accompaniment, and dialogue. And all of these things have come alive in my own life. So now I'd like to share how I have found a personal kindredness with the Sisters of the Holy Cross. It's that kindredness that keeps bringing me back to campus. As a student, I came to St. Mary's with eagerness to learn. I was ready to dive into my studies and find that intellectual vigor that was promised to me. Here I was a 4-year varsity athlete. I studied abroad in Maynooth, Ireland, and I conducted scuba diving research in Nicaragua. I set out to intentionally tackle classes that would challenge me and really push me to obtain a degree in biology and psychology. My coursework, it shaped my mind, but not at the expense of my heart. An unexpected gift of St. Mary's was encountering faith. I came to college with a deep pain associated with my faith, and this created barriers to exploring my vulnerability. But mentors here really invited me into my heart, and I truly believe, I learned and still believe wholeheartedly that the relationships are the true beauty of this college. They really promote that vulnerability is the cornerstone of confidence, and you see that every day here. As a student, I found this confidence from mentors and others to explore leadership in worship spaces like lay preaching and lay presiding, and this brought my faith alive for the first time. As an alumna, I found continual just support and mentorship from friends of the college, and this showed that St. Mary's would always remain a part of my life. Doors closed when I allowed myself to admit that biology was a struggle. I felt like I needed to prove myself to society and to my family to obtain a career that would offer financial security. But I found that the spirituality of perfection is one of failure, and I needed to look into my most authentic self. So doors opened as I fell in love with ministry. I worked at a local homeless shelter here in South Bend following graduation, and that revealed that the deepest desires of my heart are like the sisters, and rooted in faith and spirituality and justice and encountering people. Since graduating from St. Mary's, I obtained a Master of Divinity degree at Loyola University of Chicago. I also traveled to Rwanda in recognition of 20 years post-genocide. I served with the Sisters of the Holy Cross in Ghana. I accompanied burn victims through hospital chaplaincy in Nairobi, Kenya. And most recently this fall, I accompanied 4 St. Mary's students to Sao Paulo, Brazil. There, we witnessed the work of the Sisters of the Holy Cross through their ministries, specifically visiting their sites that included a youth center in the slums, legal advocacy for the indigenous people, a center for individuals experiencing homelessness. In each of these immersion experiences, I saw the brokenness of the world, and St. Mary's promise of discovery came to life. It continues to come to life here on campus as well. So now I get to serve as the Assistant Director of Campus Ministry, and I work to engage students in dialogue. One-on-one conversations, they're my favorite, and I'll get to more of that in a little bit. But I'm constantly inspired by the sisters' mark on the world. They call me to do more and to be more. They even inspire me in this time of uncertainty and unknown, and they invite me to keep saying yes to myself, yes to God, and yes to ministry. So this place here, which I hope you all end up coming here because it's my favorite place in the world. But it's really allowed me to understand my humanity and claim my spirituality. This place continues to be the foundational component to my ministry and my life because I found belonging here. And I'm sure you'll hear that from others in a little bit. Without St. Mary's and the sisters, I could have never understood the power of encounter, accompaniment, and dialogue, and I could have never found my most authentic self. And now every single day, I get to come back to the place that has given me so much. And I can only hope that you all find that in your future because it's a true gift. So I'll leave you there.
Thank you so much, Liz. That was awesome. All right, who wants to follow that? All right, Rebecca, you're up.
That's a very tough act to follow. Way to go, Liz. No. Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Go, and I'm the director of the Office for Civic and Social Engagement. And that office, despite the complex name, is really the office that I might rename the Service Office or the Community Engagement Office. Our role on campus is to connect students, staff, and faculty with the community and to allow the community ways to interact with our students, staff, and faculty. We do this through a number of ways. We have several programs that we run out of our office. We have a tutoring program after school. We work within a elementary school during the day. We actually rescue food from the dining hall and bring it to our shelter, our Center for the Homeless locally. We have a number of different initiatives like that. We have an annual Christmas drive that supports about 45 different individuals in South Bend or families. And I'm sorry, I should have said households, 45 households. And we just do a lot to coordinate and sort of galvanize our St. Mary's community to do something which is very much in the heart of the sisters. We try and respond to the needs of the time as identified by the community. So our community tells us what they need, and then we find ways that we can help respond. My office works with about 90 community partners, a little bit more in the South Bend area, to identify both how their mission aligns with ours and the ways that our students can get involved in what they do. We also we work once a month. We have a service project, typically on a Saturday or sometimes a Sunday, which is just a really easy way to get involved. It doesn't involve a huge commitment all semester long, which is especially important, I think, for our first year students who are trying to navigate a lot of new classes and a new way of living. But it's just a way to build community amongst ourselves and respond to the community needs of our partners. We also have the proud honor of having 3 little cars, which makes it easier for our students to overcome barriers they might have in terms of transportation. Because we know that St. Mary's College is on the outskirts of the city of South Bend, and many of the agencies are within the city, and we don't want that distance to be a barrier. So we allow students to borrow the cars free of charge, and as long as they're legally able to drive, and to go out into the community. So we consider our work very much in alignment with the mission and driven by the mission of St. Mary's. The part that speaks to me most is when it talks about responding to the complex needs of the contemporary world. Because as we know, even in just the last month, we've seen the world shift tremendously. We've seen the needs of the world really become heightened. And we've been working with our students both in terms of responding to their needs as a part of our community and helping them to figure out ways that they can be present in a time when there's a lot of hurt. And so we would invite you to join us. We think we're pretty cool, and to just walk with us in the work that we do. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Real quick before we turn it over to wonderful Emily, I just wanted, for anybody that kind of came in late, if you guys have any questions, feel free to go to the bottom of your screen. There's a little chat button down there. Click that, and then you can type your questions at the bottom. Again, we are going to open it up at the end after everybody says a few words. We'll open it up for Q&A then too, but feel free if you have anything pressing to go ahead and add those questions in the chat feature. All right, Emily, would you like to go next?
Sure, I would love to, although it's hard to follow that. I'm Emily Cypress Butler. I'm the Associate Director of the Center for Spirituality. We are one of 3 parts of the Mission Division. You heard from Rebecca about the amazing work that the Office of Civic and Social Engagement does. And you'll hear again from Liz about campus ministry, but our niche at the center is often more outward focused. So we offer things that might be a little bit boring, like lectures, but we bring in national speakers. You can find out more about that on our website. I don't want to talk too much about that, but what I do want to talk about is the amazing work that we do that is really connected to students. So 2 things mainly that we do with students. One, it centers around vocation. And here I'm not talking about whether or not you're going to be a nun. I'm talking about it understood really holistically. So looking at real life, looking at how do you integrate your future career, your academics, your relationships with friends, family, romantic relationships. How do you hold all of this together and find meaning and purpose and bring that meaning and purpose together? So many of the programs that we have that are student focused are around this holistic idea of vocation. We have a new program for first-year students we piloted this year called Finding Your Voice. That again is helping first-year students kind of, as you're here and you're starting to integrate some of this and asking some of those big questions together. And we have a program for sophomores through seniors called Real Life. And that's small groups with faculty and staff as well as students. Dinner conversations. We have conversations over dinner about the things that are really meaningful and finding purpose. The other program that is for high school students, so I'm speaking to those of you who are rising sophomores through seniors, or those of you who are admitted and have maybe a younger sibling who would be interested. We have a program called Embody. It's a Summer Theology Institute, Embody, Beauty, Justice, and Faith in Action. And you might notice the Embody banner behind me that I snagged from my office to like make my basement laundry area look a little bit more interesting. So Embody is a week-long Summer Theology Institute with some academic lectures, presentations, and interactive learning. But it's so much more than that. It's we have community service, art experiences. There are interreligious conversations. We have small group discussions, lots of things that bring joy. There's play, there are different prayer experiences, things that really, what we're trying to do is expose you to many different areas of both faith, justice, service, and community. And it's led by we have wonderful involvement from our amazing faculty in religious studies, as well as wonderful student leaders, mentors, St. Mary's students, one of whom you will be hearing from later. So if you have questions from the student perspective, Sarah, who you'll be hearing from later, was in our program, and I'm sure she'd be happy to answer questions about that as well. But you can go to our website to get details.
Emily, thank you so much. Okay, now we got Liz Palmer back. She's going to talk to us a little bit about the campus ministry sort of area of the Mission Division. Go ahead, Liz.
Thanks, Sarah. In case you jumped in late, I'm Liz, and I'm the Assistant Director of Campus Ministry. Our department is composed of 4 ministers who are eager to serve the students on our campus. To give you some perspective, we are nestled in Regina Hall, which is a first-year residence hall. So there's a lot of beauty in that because we get to see the first years walking by and hopefully grab them into our offices and just check in on how they are doing with transition, college life, homesickness, and that really highlights what our ministry is. We are a ministry of accompaniment. So I personally love one-on-one conversations with students where I get to check in with their faith life, their life here on campus, and just seeing the movement of the Spirit through everything they're experiencing in the day-to-day. We also do a lot of student programming. To name a few, we have things like Bible study, we have praise and worship, liturgical ministry, music ministry. We have retreats. We have a branch of Catholic Relief Services. We have a program called Friends with Sisters, where a student is actually paired with a Sister of the Holy Cross. And I'm sure you'll hear about that in a little bit because Sarah is our president of Friends with Sisters. And these are all just gateways and invitations to explore faith further. Something I love about campus ministry and the faith life on campus is really just empowerment of women. During our Lenten and Advent season specifically, we actually have students lead prayer. So they get to see how they could be a conduit to God, to our community, and take on that leadership role. I'd also like to emphasize that if you are not Catholic, there is still a place for you here. We have many connections with worship spaces outside of our St. Mary's community, so we can find you a place of worship and connect you to outside sources. Otherwise, we're always open to exploring where you are. We want to learn from you, where you are in your faith and where you are in your journey. Also, we offer the masses on campus. As I talk to the students virtually right now during this time of isolation, they miss the worship spaces more than anything. Our chapels on campus are beautiful, and I think that they just reflect the beauty of our world and the beauty of our community through art, through stained glass windows, and through different symbols of faith. We offer Mass throughout the week, every Monday, Wednesday, and on Sundays. We offer them twice. And then the sisters also have a church called the Church of Loretto, which is just adjunct to our campus. And so they welcome students there to worship in their church and to be a part of that community as well. To get involved, we have a first-year retreat, and we also launch an ice cream social. So that basically, right when you get here to St. Mary's, we are working hard to invite you into our offices, our spaces, and just have that beauty of encounter between people.
Great, thank you so much, Liz. All right, now we get to hear from the students. Sarah, you want to go first and just share a little bit about your experiences?
Yes, I would love to. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Hotzinger. I am a senior here at St. Mary's. Very sad about that. I'm studying sociology with a concentration in criminology and a minor in psychology. And I've gotten involved in campus ministry in a couple of ways over my time at St. Mary's. And so, as Emily mentioned and Liz mentioned, we do have a program called Friends with Sisters. And so Friends with Sisters is one of our largest programs here on campus. And so if you're interested, you can apply to be a part of the program. And if you're selected, we pair you with one of our Sisters of the Holy Cross who lives at the convent. And usually it's based on a shared interest or maybe where you're from. And then we ask that you meet with your sister once a week for lunch, dinner, maybe to have coffee or to read a book together or to play games. And then once a month, we have meetings where the entire club comes together. And so, for example, in October, we have a Halloween costume party, and we have students coordinate costumes with their sisters. And we were supposed to have a spring tea party this March, but unfortunately that got canceled. But just so many fun traditions, and the students love getting to know the sisters and getting to hear about everything that they've done in their time as a sister and all of the service that they've done. And the sisters love getting to know the students and getting to know like what's cool and hip these days, and getting to find out what's going on campus too. So it's a really wonderful program, and I'm so blessed to have served as the president and vice president. And so I really invite you all to, once you're on campus, apply your first year. My sister that I've been paired with for the past 3 years is amazing. Her name is Sister Sue. She is a true role model. I love her so much. And so it's definitely a wonderful program to get involved in. And additionally, in campus ministry, I've also been involved as a pastoral music leader. So if anybody is interested in serving through music during their time on campus, I would say being a pastoral music leader is for you. And so I've gotten to cantor and play the piano for our Sunday masses on campus in Lamont Chapel and Regina Chapel. And as Liz mentioned, they're both absolutely beautiful, so it is a true privilege. But there are so many different ways you can get involved in campus. Even if you're not musical, you can also serve as a Eucharistic minister. or you can be a reader for the masses too. So there are really so many different opportunities. And I would say, I would also echo that even if you're not Catholic, please do not be afraid to get involved. I'm not Catholic myself. I'm actually Methodist, but I love going to the masses every week with my friends. We do a birthday mass once at the end of every month, and the priest will say a blessing to everyone who has a birthday, and then there's cake afterwards for everyone. So it's a super welcoming environment, super, super inclusive, regardless of your faith background. So I would say please get involved if you can. And then also, before you get to campus, you can get involved with Embody, as Emily was saying. So it was going on 4 years ago, I participated in Embody, and it was truly a wonderful experience. You get a taste of what it's like to live at St. Mary's and to learn from faculty and staff. And it's just an amazing experience. And so if you have any questions about what that's like, please feel free to reach out, or about anything at St. Mary's. And I just cannot recommend getting involved in campus ministry enough.
Sarah, thank you. And at the risk of embarrassing you, I just want to share with all our attendees that we are so, so proud of Sarah, since we've gotten to know her so much over the last 4 years, that she has been named one of our 3 valedictorians for the class of 2020. So
Thank you.
sorry to embarrass you. I just had to.
Oh, no worries. Thank you.
All right, now we've got Angela Martinez Camacho, who's going to also share with us about her experience as a student. Go ahead, Angela.
Thank you, Sarah. So I'm a first-year student at St. Mary's College. I am from the Dallas, Texas area. Yeah. And basically, had I been on campus right now, I would be living at Regina Hall, which is one of the first-year students' residence halls. The other office is also, the other hall is also McCandless Hall. St. Mary's definitely offers a variety of clubs and organizations to join through the Office of Civic and Social Engagement, through campus ministry, through the Center of Spirituality. St. Mary's definitely does not fail in offering you opportunities where you get to grow as a woman, as a belle, anything you want, even like through your faith and spirituality. One of my favorite clubs definitely has to be Bible study, which is led by one of our campus ministry directors, Regina Wilson. We basically meet up once a week for no more than an hour, and we like going over scriptures in the Bible. And it's very interesting because you get to listen and hear about the different interpretations from like all of the other bells. So St. Mary's definitely gives you like the opportunity to just learn about different perspectives, and I truly appreciate that as a first-year student. Another program that I definitely got into because I knew that I wanted a mentorship bond with another belle was Big Bell, Little Bell. So basically what this program does is it's all about mentorship, sisterhood, and building connections for the future. And basically a fresh woman like me is paired up with an upperclasswoman belle, and typically it falls under the category of your same intended major. And even if you don't have a major like set your first year, that's totally fine. The whole concept is basically to pair you up with someone who's going to be able to guide you through your entire first year, and even like beyond that. I had the opportunity to be with not just as myself as a little belle, but I had a twin, another little belle. Her name is Ariel. We're like best of friends now. And we always, before the whole pandemic, we would always hang out with our big belle. Her name is Lauren. She's a senior. She's graduating. We definitely are going to miss her, and we just try to like stay in contact as much as possible because Lauren has helped me so much within the psychology department. I am a intended psychology and sociology major, so having that person to guide me through it all has definitely helped the process of freshman year go so smooth. And I like, even outside of like bells, I have Sarah, I have Miss Colleen Berg, I have Rebecca, I have Liz, I have Emily. Like everyone on campus is willing to help you out, no matter if they're staff, no matter if they're students. I mean, I definitely feel the amount of caring that one has for me as a belle, as a woman. So it is true when Liz says that we want to emphasize the concept of empowering women, and I definitely feel that. So please, like, I hope that you join St. Mary's College. It's the best decision that I have ever made, especially being someone who is studying out of state. I mean, I'm from Texas. All I knew was Texas, and then I made a big jump moving to Indiana. So it's honestly worth it.
Thank you so much, Angela. And I will say, I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning that I'm an alumna of St. Mary's as well. And you talking about Big Bell, Little Bell, I was a Big Bell when I was at St. Mary's many, many, many years ago. And I'm actually still super close. We see each other once a year with my Little Bell every year. So, all right, Colleen, you are up.
Hello. So I don't know how I can follow all of you after all the amazing things that you all were able to share. But to all of you out there, hello, my name is Colleen Burke. As Sarah mentioned earlier, I'm a senior admission counselor in the office. But I am very excited to be talking with all of you here this afternoon as a proud graduate from the class of 2016 at St. Mary's. And to talk with you all a little bit really about what it means as an alumna to live the mission of the college. In my day-to-day life. As a student at St. Mary's, one of the things that I absolutely loved was not only did I feel like St. Mary's was preparing me academically in order to take the skills and knowledge that I was learning in the classroom and to bring it in to what I am doing professionally now. But I also felt like St. Mary's really allowed me to determine what my true passions were and what I was being called to do outside of the classroom. Similar to Liz, I thought that I had it all figured out. I thought I had a path set for me, and I quickly learned that through what I was involved in at St. Mary's and what I started doing after St. Mary's, that my true passions really were following the mission and serving my community, not only just in terms of volunteer work, but really being aware of the needs that the members of our community have. And so I feel as an alumna that following the mission of the college looks very differently for everyone, whether it is in terms of what you're doing with the work that you're doing professionally, whether it's volunteer work, whatever it is. But I feel like it is so important to know that I have been so inspired through all of this pandemic and everything going on to see the support that St. Mary's alums and current students have been providing to one another. And I think that's another huge aspect of what it means to live the mission of the college, is to truly be there for one another, to support one another in good times and in bad times. And as challenging of a time this has been for all of us, it's been so remarkable just seeing all of the support that St. Mary's has had for themselves and for their local communities as well too. So I know I am personally grateful for St. Mary's just for everything that it was able to provide me as a student and how it really allowed me to open my eyes to the importance of really serving those individuals in our community and being able to support all populations that we work with, all in my role right now, students that I'm working with, and everyone to serve and support them through what they are planning to do as well. One of the things that I loved being involved in as a student at St. Mary's was with campus ministry. I was a Eucharistic minister, and I actually was a minister at the Church of Loretto, which, as Liz mentioned earlier, is where our sisters go to Mass, and I absolutely loved it. I actually still go there to Mass just because I think it's such a beautiful way to actually see the mission and see those sisters who really brought St. Mary's to us and who continue really live out that mission in their day-to-day life and are serving not only our community, but again, all of the communities, the global community. And it was just so inspiring as a student being able to go to Mass and see those sisters who really brought St. Mary's to us and continue to really show us how important a place like St. Mary's is and how it truly does support and provide students to not just go out and get a job and do something that they're interested in, but to really do something that they're truly passionate about and that they truly feel like they're making a difference in their communities. And for me as an alum, my time at St. Mary's, I feel, has really been able to do that in the work that I'm doing and the work that I continue to do through counseling.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Colleen. Yeah, I think that generally speaking, when you really think about what St. Mary's does for its students, that I think makes us stand out really all over the country is that we not only prepare our students to go on and, you know, work professionally, you know, you're going to certainly develop intellectually while you're here. And I think we do that better than anyone. But we also are really dedicated to helping our students develop personally and emotionally and spiritually, and really helping you guys become sort of the best versions of yourselves, and to be able to ultimately go on and, you know, reach your full potential. And if we have parents on the line right now that are watching, you know, your daughters become those amazing young women that you dream they become, you know, and I think we do such an amazing job. And I think through everything you just heard from all of our panelists, they just gave you a lot of reasons why. So it looks like we're getting some questions. It is time for Q&A, everyone, so get ready. So I'll go ahead and just moderate as they come through. One, I don't know if everybody saw Sarah. Did you notice all of the congratulations to you? Thank you to everyone who congratulated Sarah. All right, so I'll go ahead and read through and we'll see who needs to answer these. Feel free, guys, just to go to the bottom of your screen, hit that chat button, and go ahead and ask some questions there. Emma, I play volleyball and lacrosse both, and I'm curious to know how playing sports can affect my college life. I've been looking into St. Mary's for a while now and just want to understand more about the athletic side of the college. There was actually, I think, some of us here that played sports at St. Mary's. I actually ran track when I was a student at St. Mary's. And I think the great thing, and no matter what sport you're going to do at St. Mary's, being D3 is that you have time to focus on your sport, but you're also able to focus on your studies and focus on your social life and all those other things you want to get involved in. You can balance those things at St. Mary's. And that really, I think, makes it nice, because you don't have, like in D1 schools, you tend to have to just focus on your sport, and then you don't get that well-rounded experience. But you do at St. Mary's, and it's absolutely possible to balance that. Colleen, I don't know, Liz, do you guys want to add anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was an athlete as well. I ran cross country at St. Mary's. And I can say I can't imagine what my college experience would have been like without having that as part of my experience. Some of my best friends are who I ran with. We still talk all the time and have been chatting and everything, but it's so nice knowing that not only when you come to St. Mary's that you have your, you know, of course, the St. Mary's community and all the other incoming first-year students that you can relate with, but you're also going to be part of another tight-knit community, which is our athletic family as well, too. In regards to kind of what it's like balancing coming in, one of the things I love that we did with cross country was we would have, and I know other sports do this as well, study tables that we would do once a week. So it was really nice, you know, after practice, we'd go get dinner, and then we'd all meet up at the library. Somebody was always bringing treats that we could all snack on them while we were studying, and being able to still focus on our academics. What I love about the athletic department at St. Mary's is, well, of course, they want to see you doing well on the field and in the sports that you're playing. You're never going to have to sacrifice your academics to be an athlete at St. Mary's. And I think it's such a great thing that they do, and really supporting students to make sure that you're doing well on and off the field also. One quick thing I'll add too, since we are talking about the mission, is one thing I love that I know that we did over our fall break in cross country is we would actually be doing volunteer work as well too within the local South Bend community. So it was really nice that while we had that break and we were still practicing, that we were still being able to contribute and give back to different populations within the South Bend community.
There's not much I can add to that, but I will say that I swam for 4 years, and then I coached lacrosse for 3 years, actually. The athletic community remains my family. They remain my best friends. Some of the swimmers and I were doing a swim this September, so we try to keep that competition alive. I always performed better academically when I was in season, and something beautiful was that faculty and staff would often come to my swim meets. So you would see that support with them cheering on the sidelines. So I'll leave it with that.
I'll just add, just so you guys, those of you who aren't as familiar, just want to let you guys know that, you know, we do have intramurals on campus as well as the varsity athletics. We have club sports. You guys are also able to join Notre Dame club sports as well. So there's a lot of opportunities really between us and Notre Dame when it comes to any students interested in athletics. Okay, what are the typical class sizes? Average class size right now is around 16 to 18 students on campus. So that would be pretty typical. You might have a few classes that are a little bit bigger than that in your first year, but you could be in classes of 5 or 6 in your senior year. So it's nice. You get a lot of that personal attention for sure. Hi, I have a question in terms of admission with this pandemic. Will St. Mary's look at transcripts and grades differently? So the short answer is yes. And then the long answer, I'll keep it short. Yeah, we understand that this is unprecedented this time that we're living in today. So whether you're a senior who's just applying now, and right now we're still accepting applications, or you're a junior or a sophomore and you're worried about the future when we're going to be looking at grades, we will know that this was an incredibly difficult time, and all students all over the country are dealing with this differently. Schools are handling it differently. I know that we've had a lot of questions about whether we're willing to accept pass-fail grades on high school transcript. The answer is yes to that for this semester, so keep that in mind. We understand that GPAs could be impacted by this. I mean, we are going to be very, very flexible. If you have a specific question about your specific situation that you want to talk through with an admission counselor, feel free to give us a call. You guys, we are, open regular hours to, from now on. So even though we're working remotely, we are here for you guys, so you can give us a call or send us an email, and we will absolutely be able to sit down and talk with your family about your individual situation. Let's see. What is the most important part of the application that the admission office will look at while reviewing them? So we read holistically. We're going to look at everything. Primary factors would be the rigor of your coursework, your grades, if we have test scores, sort of your grade trends from 9th through 12th grade. But we're also going to look at those letters of recommendation and those things you've been involved in outside the classroom. Your essay, what are you telling us about you kind of on a more personal level that's sort of outside those numbers. So we look at a number of things. So those would be secondary factors as well. But we absolutely, every single application is read by at least 2 people. So we really care about who you are as a young woman, and we're going to pay attention to all those different factors. What sports does the cheerleading club cheer for? Coming from high school, we only cheer for basketball, and wanted to know if there were other sports they cheer for. Anybody? We have cheerleaders that you can cheer for both St. Mary's and for Notre Dame. Do anybody? I think it's a lot of them. I don't know. Liz, Colleen.
I think if you're talking in terms of the club cheerleading team that we have at St. Mary's, I know they do cheer for the basketball team. I believe that's the only team that they cheer for. But it is nice. I went to a ton of the basketball games when I was a student. It was always fun seeing the cheerleaders cheering them on, and they've got really cool cheers that everybody is always saying and stuff like that. So it is definitely an experience that you can have, but I do believe it is just for the basketball team that they cheer for, as well as getting involved in other events and stuff like that. I know when I was a student, for events that we hosted through the student activities board, the cheerleaders at St. Mary's would get involved in different stuff that we were hosting for the campus community.
Sarah, you're on mute.
I'm muted. Sorry. See, these little kinks. I gotta work these out. Colleen, I was wondering if you want to answer that question about the tri-campus community and the experience specifically with Notre Dame, and then Sarah and Angela, if you guys want to chime in, if you do anything over at Notre Dame as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the reasons I personally fell in love with St. Mary's was I knew that I was going to get everything that I wanted from a small school and from an all-women's college as well too, even though I was very hesitant about the idea of it at the time, but everything that I wanted out of both of those, that I was still able to get that big school and that co-ed experience. And what's nice is while you are a St. Mary's student, you're also part of the tri-campus community with both Notre Dame and Holy Cross. You can see the Golden Dome from parts of our campus, so it really is just right across the road, about a mile walk to the grotto. So it's nice that you can go over there, get involved in clubs and organizations. I mean, between St. Mary's and Notre Dame, there's a little over 500 clubs and organizations students can get involved in, including marching band, ROTC, cheerleading at Notre Dame as well too. You can take courses over at Notre Dame. I took a course over there as a student, and I loved it. I thought it was a really cool experience to be able to go over there and have that class experience. And I felt like St. Mary's really prepared me to be able to go over there and have that class experience as well in terms of the conversations and discussions that we were having. We also have our dual degree program, so students who are interested in engineering are able to go and get a degree actually from both St. Mary's and Notre Dame in 5 years. So that's an option for students as well. You can go to the dances and social events, get season football tickets and sit in the student section for the football games and the other sporting events as well too. So it's nice knowing that you can very much have that Notre Dame experience and you can have that big school experience, but you don't have to sacrifice being at a smaller school, getting all the amazing benefits that go along with being at an all-women's college as well. I have a ton of friends from Notre Dame. We also talk and stuff like that. So you can very much go and have that co-ed social life if that's what you're looking for.
Sarah, Angela, do you have anything quickly to add? We have like 15 new messages, so we're going to have to do lightning round.
I would just piggyback off everything Colleen said. My friends and I love to take walks to the grotto. One of my good friends was actually the president of a club over at Notre Dame. And it's definitely nice to be able to go over there and enjoy everything their campus offers, but then to come back to our smaller campus at the end of the day in our close-knit community.
Yeah. It's definitely the best of both worlds, I think.
Okay. From my experience, oh, sorry, Sarah.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
From my experience, being from Texas, I had no idea about hockey until I was introduced to Notre Dame. So one of my favorite things ever now is like to go to all of the hockey games. They're the most fun sport. It's the most fun sport that I've ever seen. Sitting in the student section is so much fun because we do all of the movements that are involved. We sing all the songs, and tickets are free. So that's what I truly appreciate about Notre Dame hockey games. So I definitely recommend even scouring around for different opportunities that are offered by Notre Dame.
Absolutely, thank you. And I don't know if you guys noticed, Emily mentioned that she is also the parent of a current St. Mary's student. So prospective parents out there, feel free to ask questions of Emily too. All right, we're gonna do lightning round, everyone. We're gonna go fast because we have a lot of questions to get to. And the first is, she has a question regarding the living arrangements. Are there freshman dorms? Yes, so we have 2 dorms specifically for freshmen to help build that community, Regina and McCandless. What are the dorm arrangements after your first year, and how many roommates does one have? After your first year, we do have basically there's 4 residence halls, and then there's sort of one section of one of those residence halls that's only for seniors, and then we do have an entire apartment complex on campus just for seniors as well. And really, there are options for singles the whole way up through twins on campus. And then I think there is, I don't know, girls, tell me if I'm wrong, but the apartment complexes, how many people are in each apartment there?
In Opus?
Yeah.
It's either a double or a quad.
Okay. So there's, so lots of different options in terms of how many roommates you want to have. And your freshman year, you can be in anything from a single, I think, the whole way up through a quad in your freshman year. Okay, I'm a parent of a current, oh, that's Emily. All right, can you take classes online? Do you have to live on campus any of your 4 years at St. Mary's? The majority of our students do live on campus, and most of our classes are taught on campus. Obviously this right now is a little different, but there are some classes that students can take online. We do also offer online classes in the summertime. The majority of them are in the classroom. And then we have a 3-year residency requirement unless you live within about 30 miles of campus, and then we do waive that requirement. But for the most part, students will live on campus either 3 or 4 years. Is it possible to take courses over at Notre Dame? Yes, it is. So Colleen went through some of that. You absolutely can take courses at Notre Dame. Generally speaking, they make you wait until your sophomore year. And then at that point, you can go ahead and start taking classes over there. You don't have to pay anything more. You can just take them and they transfer grades back over to St. Mary's. A few months ago, a representative from St. Mary's came and spoke to students who are interested in attending. In this meeting, she mentioned how you can take classes through Notre Dame as well. I was wondering how this works. A lot of interest in Notre Dame classes. I love it. Yes, just the gist is that if you have an interest, then you can just basically work with your academic advisor, and they'll connect you over to Notre Dame to be able to make sure that you can get on the list for the class over there. It's really a very simple process. And then as long as you're accepted into the class, then you can go ahead and take it.
I was going to say, from when I took a class over there, just because I know we have a lot of questions about this, it was so easy to sign up for it. I don't remember what the process was.
Yeah.
Like, it was very much, typically they have to be classes that we don't have offered at St. Mary's. So for me, it was an elective course that actually didn't work with my schedule at the class that was offered at St. Mary's. So I was able to take it over at Notre Dame. And I just spoke with my advisor. They gave me the info of what I needed, and I went and registered for the class. But it was so simple. Really, as long as you don't have any, or the class doesn't need any prereq requirements for it, and it's not like a class specifically for, a specific major over there or anything, you're good to go. So it's very simple.
Okay, is there transportation between Notre Dame and St. Mary's? Yes. Sarah or Angela, do you guys want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Blinky. We have Blinky. That's our transportation, which rides along the avenue that connects St. Mary's to Notre Dame, and it'll go on about until what time, Sarah? Like 3 in the morning, I think.
It's very late. Yes, it's just a blue shuttle bus with a blinking light on top. Very cute Christmas lights in the wintertime. We love it. And then we also have Transpo, which is a bus that runs between St. Mary's, Holy Cross, and Notre Dame, and it's free for students to use too.
Yeah. So very easy to get around. Okay, let's see. I'm an admitted student. Congrats! Woohoo! I was just curious as to when we pick our classes for the first year. Great question. So basically all students who ultimately commit to St. Mary's, they pay that enrollment deposit. In early June is when you're going to hear from our academic affairs team for first year studies. They'll reach out to you at that point, send you like a catalog and letter, a bunch of stuff. And essentially they're going to tell you, who your academic advisor is, and then you basically get hooked up with the academic advisor and have a conversation, and then you'll be able to virtually register for your classes. So that will all happen right around the end of May, beginning of June. I'm in high school and have been looking at St. Mary's. Excellent. I've been thinking about attending. 2 of my sisters have graduated from St. Mary's, and I have 1 attending now. That's so cool. I was wondering about your study abroad program. Excellent. Okay, I know there's at least a number of us students. Let me ask you, did either of you guys study abroad? Okay. Well, okay, I can give you an overview if anybody else wants to chime in. So we have a phenomenal study abroad program. We're actually well known nationally for our study abroad program. About 50% of our students do go abroad at some point. We have, oh my gosh, like 20-ish different programs in I think 17 or 18 countries around the world. Our 2 probably most popular programs are our Ireland program in Maynooth and our Rome program. I studied abroad in Ireland during my sophomore year in college, and it absolutely changed my life. It was, oh my gosh, it was just so amazing. I learned more in that 1 year and had nothing to do with what I was learning in the classroom, than probably I learned in 18 years of a traditional education. So it's absolutely phenomenal. You guys can go for a semester, a full year, just like a few weeks in the summer, spring break trips. I mean, there's a ton of different options that are open for you. I just suggest having a conversation with your academic advisor as soon as you kind of have an inkling that you might want to do it, and then they'll essentially try to set up your sort of schedule to make sure it's possible for you. Every single major can study abroad in some way, St. Mary's. It's just that majors like engineering and nursing, I think there's only 2 that are a little more strict about it, do have some more kind of strict limitations on when you can do it. So otherwise, I definitely wholeheartedly recommend it. It was like the greatest experience. So really good opportunity. If you just go to our website, look for study abroad, you'll be able to see all the different countries that we're in. Okay, does St. Mary's look closely at your ACT or SAT scores, and do many people send them in? Pauline, you want to address it?
Yes. So when it comes to test scores, as Sarah mentioned earlier with the application process, we are very holistic. So we really are looking at everything that students are sending us when determining whether or not we think a student is going to be successful, not just for 1 year, but for all 4 years at St. Mary's. When it comes to test scores specifically, we are test optional institutions. So when you are applying to St. Mary's, if you have a 3.2 GPA or above, you can apply without your test scores. So if you're like me and you want to forget that test ever happened and completely block it out of your mind, and you have the GPA requirement to do so, you can apply without your test scores. If you are applying with your test scores, of course, we love to see stronger test scores, but there are so many factors that go into the application process that is not the only thing that we will be looking at. We really look at your grades, we look at the types of classes that you're taking, we look at all of the classes that you're taking, we read those essays. Writing is a huge component in the curriculum at St. Mary's. You'll actually take 2 writing proficiency courses during your time. So that's another big factor as well too. So there are so many pieces of kind of your admission puzzle that goes into the application that we really do look at everything. We also do super score the test scores. So if you take the test more than once, send us all your test scores in, because we can super score them and build a new composite score based off of the highest score for each of the tests that you've taken.
Awesome. All right, we got to go fast. Well, this is for Sarah and Angela. As a student, when was the moment you knew St. Mary's was the college for you?
I think for me, it was when I got my acceptance letter, actually. Everything about St. Mary's is so personalized, and it starts with your acceptance letter. And from the moment you get here, you know that you're not just going to be another number. You're going to be recognized. Your professors are going to get to know you. Everyone on campus is going to get to know you. And it's just such a personalized experience. And I don't think it's something that you'll get at a lot of other larger schools. And so I think that was when I truly knew that St. Mary's would be for me.
For me, it was the day that I arrived to campus, which was move-in day. That was my first day ever at St. Mary's, honestly. And as sad and mean as it sounds, like the minute that my parents left, I was like, oh my gosh, I am at my new home. Like, this is it for me. Like, I literally felt it in my heart that I was like at the place that I was meant to be.
Awesome. Thanks, ladies. Okay, so I'm curious about the master's program in speech pathology. Do any of the panelists have any information about it? I don't think either of our students are pursuing that. Colleen, do you know much about it? Do you want me to address it?
Yes, so we do have our Master's of Science in Speech Language Pathology. So what's nice for students who are interested in studying that at St. Mary's, you can pursue your Master's for that as well. We also have a dual degree at the Master's level for Speech Language Pathology and Autism Studies. So that's offered as well, that students can apply for. What's great for students at the undergrad for speech language pathology is that since we do have that master's program, it's really awesome knowing that you're going to actually get to have interaction with those students in the graduate program and actually learn from them and kind of have them as mentors. You're also going to get a lot of hands-on experience in the clinic that we have on campus that both our undergraduate students are using and getting clinician work in before they actually graduate, which is very rare, but also that you'll be using as a graduate student as well. We do have our Office of Graduate Studies, so we can always send their information to any of y'all that are interested, and they can give more specifics about the program. But it did recently, Sarah, you can probably say the correct name for it, but passed all of its full accreditation criteria that was needed. So we're very excited about that as well.
Here. And I'll say I have a daughter who has a little bit of like kind of speech delays and goes to the preschool on campus, and I can't even tell you how much she has benefited from the work that both our undergraduates and our graduate students in that speech pathology program have been able to provide her. I'm so unbelievably thankful for all of them. So real quick, Angela, can you quickly go through a little bit about the Big Bell, Little Bell? They're asking a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I did see the question about applications. So the email that basically goes out with the application is sent during the summer. And it's basically a link where you fill out a Google form, and later when the school year starts, we have a basic meet and greet where freshman students get to meet upper class women. And basically that's how you start to build the bonds, and later on you will be paired up. You might have a little twin, you might not have a little twin. But definitely, like in the summer, look out in your St. Mary's email for that application process.
Oh, Rebecca, were you going to say something earlier? No? Okay. All right. For the dual engineering program at Notre Dame and St. Mary's, how can students get in and how do they apply? So if you're interested in the dual engineering program, you're just going to apply to St. Mary's as you would normally apply, but you're going to let us know your intended major is engineering. And then we know you have that interest. You actually don't officially apply into the engineering program at Notre Dame until the end of your junior year at St. Mary's. But having said that, really starting in your sophomore year at St. Mary's, you're taking classes between both St. Mary's and Notre Dame. So you're sort of working on all those pre-engineering courses, or I should say prerequisites in engineering at Notre Dame, starting as early as your sophomore year. And then basically every year, second, third, fourth year, you're kind of at St. Mary's and at Notre Dame, and then you graduate from St. Mary's at the end of your fourth year, and then you will you apply at the end of your third year at St. Mary's. As long as you're accepted, you finish up at St. Mary's in that fourth year, and then you'll be a full-time, fully matriculated student just at Notre Dame in that fifth year, and take all classes there, and then graduate from there at the end of your fifth year. Are there students who attend church services outside of campus, and what are the opportunities to get involved with churches within the South Bend community? Who wants to take that? One of the students? Rebecca, Emily?
Go for it, Rebecca.
All you.
The answer is yes. And at the very beginning of the year, I believe it's the first week of September, we have a student involvement and resource fair. And at that fair, there are representatives, tables with representatives from almost all the clubs on campus, plus other organizations, plus nonprofits in South Bend, and some other faith communities. So the tables have representatives from, one of the local Methodist churches, one of the local Lutheran churches. The church that I attend, I've had several students come with me and just meet me at church on Sunday. That is a non-denominational church. So we really try and make sure that students feel like they're connected to a faith community that they feel comfortable with. And so that starts right from the beginning in terms of introducing to people who are from those churches at that resource fair in September. And then throughout their time there, if students are looking for a different faith experience, they can talk to campus ministry, they can talk to our office, and they can talk to many, many faculty members to help identify what they're looking for and make that connection.
Great. So I'm really sorry. I just want to be Go ahead, Emily. Go ahead.
Just a real brief. So I used to work in campus ministry. One of the resources that we've curated is a whole listing of local area faith congregations, as well as names of faculty and staff members who are affiliated with them who would be happy to accompany students or talk with them about it. So even though campus ministry is at a Catholic college, it is really there to serve everyone. And please, if you have any questions about getting involved in churches, they're a good place to go to.
Great. Okay, I want to just very, very quickly answer these last few questions that are here. And so I'm just going to kind of very fast go through them because I'm conscious of time. And you guys, if you have other questions, never hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach out to us at admission@stmarys.edu. And if you want us to connect you with any of the panelists, we can do that. But let me just real quick answer these questions. What's the best way to find a roommate? Two big suggestions is one, to go into the Facebook group, our admitted student Facebook group for the class of 2024. A lot of our students are finding roommates that way, kind of introducing yourselves and then kind of connecting based on similar interests. You also, when you go in to apply for housing, after you commit to St. Mary's, you will have that opportunity to set up a profile, and then you can actually search for students in there that might have similar interests as you and that you might be a good match with. Are there a lot of business students that attend SMC? Absolutely. Business is one of our top 5 majors on campus, so it's definitely a very popular program. You have a lot of students with that interest. Due to COVID-19, I was wondering if the enrollment deposit has been extended. Yep. So if you haven't heard already, we just did extend last week the enrollment deposit to June 1st, and we're hoping that gives families a peace of mind knowing you have a little extra time to kind of finalize your plans and make sure all is set. So June 1st is now the new deposit deadline. Do all AP credits transfer easily? Yep. So if you go onto our website and you search AP credit, you'll be able to see how it breaks down. But essentially for students who get 4s or 5s on the AP exam and some 3s, just depending on the subject, those credits can transfer in. So again, go to our website, you can see more details about that. What systems are in place to support students with disabilities or recurring health complications that would prevent them from attending class in person? We have an Office of Disabilities on campus, so I definitely suggest reaching out to them. You can send them an email. They're still available on campus and can answer those questions. They'll be definitely able to help you. And then we also have our Health and Wellness Center on campus. It's in our beautiful new Angela Athletic and Wellness complex. So, and that's certainly that we have nurses and doctors and people that are there. Also counselors helping students need some kind of therapy type of services. So there's a lot of different kind of resources on campus for students. So feel free, if you have kind of questions that you want to talk through kind of on a case-by-case basis in your situation, again, reach out to us in the admission office and we will hook you up with the correct person. Is the all-female environment cliquey? One of the students, answer that quickly.
Not at all. I mean, we talk a lot about the sisterhood here, and I know that can sound like cliche or cheesy at times, but honestly, going to an all-women school is the best. Everyone here has your back. Everyone is so incredibly supportive and collaborative, and I can't even imagine going to a co-ed school for college, so it's just really been an absolutely incredible experience.
And then I see a question about accepting dual enrollment credits from community colleges or other schools. So yes, absolutely we do. As long as they're taken in 11th or 12th grade and you receive a C or higher, and we need the actual official college transcript, then we can transfer that credit in, absolutely. Okay, do you have organizations for POC? Why am I blanking? I'm not sure what POC is. Anybody know? You're muted, Rebecca.
Oh, sorry, people of color, yes.
Oh.
Persons of color, yes.
Thank you.
We have several, we have special clubs like that. We have the Black Student Association, BSA. We have La Fuerza, which is for our Latinx students. We have a club for Asian Americans. And then we have the Student Diversity Board, which actually is for all people of all different backgrounds, including first-generation students. And they all have funding and are able to run different programming on campus, which is really neat because there's a lot of collaboration across departments and with clubs to bring in really neat speakers and to do really fun things.
Great. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Okay. Man, you guys were excellent. You were so fun to present to today, and I'm so glad that we had so many of you on this chat. I know we had to go through some of those questions very, very fast, but I'm really glad you guys were so engaged and had so many questions. Again, never ever hesitate to reach out to us. We are absolutely here for you during this very trying time. Our offices are open and we're giving you big hugs from here, from where we are all over the country. Never ever hesitate to reach out. Send an email to admission@stmarys.edu. Give us a call. You can reach us all over. We have lots of virtual events and opportunities to connect with us virtually. We're doing student-led campus tours. We're doing live video chats. We're going to be doing more of these webinars surrounding sort of different areas of campus. So we'll be sending out emails to all of you for ones that are coming up in the future if you have an interest. I want to thank our panelists for all your hard work and for being here today and answering questions. And I know they're all willing to answer any additional questions that you guys have. So never hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you again. And for you admitted students, I do want to just mention we are in the final planning stages of a virtual Meet Me at the Avenue event. We know that it was so sad that we had to cancel it, but we are going to be scheduling a virtual Meet Me and we're super excited about it. And it will be later in April and we'll send some information to you if you have it. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing weekend. Stay healthy and hug your families. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.